Your worship, for what it's worth, welcome to the Storm Coast. I would have sent word sooner, but our efforts have been delayed.
How so?
There's a group of bandits operating in the area. They know the terrain, and our small party has had trouble going up against them. Some of our soldiers went to speak with their leader. Haven't heard back, though.
I'll do what I can to find our people.
Thank you, Your Worship. That's a relief. The soldiers didn't have an exact location for the bandits, but they were starting their search farther down the beach. With all this fuss, we haven't been able to conduct a proper search for the wardens either. Well, good luck, and enjoy the sea air. I hear it's good for the soul.
Chargers! Stand down! Krim! How'd we do?
5 or 6 wounded, Chief. No dead.
That's what I like to hear. Let the throat cutters finish up, then break out the casks. So, you're with the Inquisition, huh? Glad you could make it. Come on, have a seat. Drinks are coming.
Nicely done. I hear you're looking for work.
I am. Not before my drink, though. I assume you remember Cremisius Aclassi, my lieutenant.
Good to see you again. Throat cutters are done, Chief.
Already? Have them check again. I don't want any of those Tevinter bastards getting away. No offense, Krem.
None taken. At least a bastard knows who his mother was. Puts him one up on you Canary, right?
So, you've seen us fight. We're expensive, but we're worth it. And I'm sure the Inquisition can afford us.
How much is this going to cost me exactly?
Wouldn't cost you anything personally. Unless you want to buy drinks later. Your ambassador, what's her name? Josephine. We'd go through her and get the payments set up. Gold will take care of itself. Don't worry about that. All that matters is we're worth it.
The Chargers seem like an excellent company.
They are, but you're not just getting the boys. You're getting me. You need a frontline bodyguard. I'm your man. Whatever it is. Demons? Dragons? The bigger the better. And there's one other thing. Might be useful. Might piss you off. Ever hear of the Ben Hasra?
I've never heard of it.
It's a Canary order. They handle information, loyalty, security, all of it. Spies, basically. Or, well, we're spies. The Ben Hasrath are concerned about the breach. Magic out of control like that could cause trouble everywhere. I've been ordered to join the Inquisition, get close to the people in charge, and send reports on what's happening. But I also get reports from Ben Hasrath agents all over Orlais. You sign me on, I'll share them with your people.
You're a Kunari spy, and you just told me.
Whatever happened at that conclave thing, it's bad. Someone needs to get that breach closed. So whatever I am, I'm on your side.
You still could have hidden what you are.
From something called the Inquisition. I'd have been tipped sooner or later. Better you hear it right up front from me.
What would you send home in these reports of yours?
Enough to keep my superiors happy. Nothing that'll compromise your operations. The Kunari want to know if they need to launch an invasion to stop the whole damn world from falling apart. You let me send word of what you're doing, it'll put some minds at ease. That's good for everyone.
What's in these Ben Hasrath reports you're offering to share?
Enemy movements, suspicious activity, intriguing gossip. It's a bit of everything. Alone they're not much, but if your spy master is worth a damn, she'll put him to good use.
She?
I did a little research. Plus, I've always had a weakness for redheads.
You run your reports past Liliana before sending them. You send nothing she doesn't approve. If this turns out to be a trick, or if your reports compromise the Inquisition, Cassandra will eat you alive.
Wouldn't have it any other way. Krem, tell the men to finish drinking on the road. The Chargers just got hired.
What about the casks, Chief? We just opened them up with axes.
Find some way to seal them. You're Tervinter, right? Try blood magic. We'll meet you back at Haven.
Word for you.
They will make this a fight, not us. Remember how to carry your shields. You're not hiding, you're holding. Otherwise, it's useless.
Blackwall. Warden Blackwall.
You're not... How do you know my name? Who said... Ah! That's it. Help or get out. We're dealing with these idiots first. Conscripts, here they come! Sorry, bastards. Good work, conscripts. Even if this shouldn't have happened, they could have... Well, thieves are made, not born. Take back what they stole. Go back to your families. You saved yourselves. You're no farmer. Why do you know my name? Who are you?
I know your name because I'm an agent of the Inquisition. I'm investigating whether the disappearance of Wardens has anything to do with the murder of the Divine.
Maker's balls. The Wardens and the Divine. That can't... No, you're asking so you don't really know. First off, I didn't know they disappeared. But we do that, right? No more blight, job done. Wardens are the first thing forgotten. But one thing I'll tell you, no Warden killed the Divine. Our purpose isn't political.
I'm not here to accuse, not yet. I just need information. I've only found you. Where are the rest?
I haven't seen any Wardens for months. I travel alone, recruiting. Not much interest because the Archdemon is a decade dead, and no need to conscript because there's no blight coming. Treaties give Wardens the right to take what we need, who we need. These idiots forced this fight, so I conscripted their victims. They had to do what I said, so I told them to stand. Next time, they won't need me. Grey Wardens can inspire. Make you better than you think you are.
Do you have any idea where the other Wardens could have gone?
Maybe they returned to our stronghold at Weishaupt? That's in the Anderfels, a long way north. I don't really know. Can't imagine why they'd all disappear at once, let alone where they'd disappear to.
Why haven't you gone missing like the rest of them?
Well, maybe I was going to. Or maybe there's a new directive, but a runner got lost or something. My job was to recruit on my own. Plan to stay that way for months. Years.
I wasn't aware Grey Wardens could take whatever they want.
It's complicated. If there's a blight, everyone has to help the effort to fight it. The treaties are ancient. Outside of blights, it's as binding as a clever tongue can make it.
It's been a pleasure, Warden Blackwall, but this didn't help at all.
Inquisition. Agent, did you say? Hold a moment. The Divine is dead and the sky is torn. Events like these, thinking we're absent is almost as bad as thinking we're involved. If you're trying to put things right, maybe you need a Warden. Maybe you need me.
The Inquisition needs all the support it can get. But what can one Grey Warden do?
Save the fucking world if pressed. Look, maybe fighting demons from the sky isn't something I'm practiced at. But show me someone who is. And like I said, there are treaties. Maybe this isn't a blight, but it's bloody well a disaster. Some will honor them. Being a warden means something to a lot of people.
Warden Blackwall, the Inquisition accepts your offer.
Good to hear. We both need to know what's going on. And perhaps I've been keeping to myself for too long. This warden walks with the Inquisition.
I work for, at least.
Herald of Andraste. How much did you expend to discover me? It must have weakened the Inquisition immeasurably.
I don't know who you are.
You don't fool me. I'm too important for this to be an accident. My efforts will survive in victories against you elsewhere.
Just say what?
What is that?
Ugh.
Squishy one, but you heard me, right? Just say what? Rich tits always try for more than they deserve.
Blah, blah, blah. Obey me. Arrow in my face. So, you followed the notes well enough. Glad to see you're... And you're an elf. Well, hope you're not too elfy. I mean, it's all good, isn't it? The important thing is you glow. You're the herald thingy.
Some believe I'm the Herald of Andraste. But who are you? And what's this about?
No idea. I don't know this idiot from Manners. My people just said the Inquisition should look at him.
Your people? Elves?
No. People. Name's Sarah. This is cover. Get round it. For the reinforcements. Don't worry. Someone tipped me their equipment shed. They've got no breaches. Bunch of nutters.
You take their weapons.
There's no breaches.
Make her take you!
Friends really came through with that tip. No breaches. So, Herald of Andraste. You're a strange one. I'd like to join.
Could we take a few moments for sense to reassert itself? Who are you people?
I'm not people, but I get what you want. It's like this. I sent you a note to look for hidden stuff by my friends. The Friends of Red Jenny. That's me. Well, I'm one. So is a fence in Montfort, some woman in Kirkwall. There were 3 in Starkhaven, brothers or something. It's just a name, yeah? It lets little people, friends, be part of something while they stick it to nobles they hate. So here, in your face, I'm Sarah. The Friends of Red Jenny are sort of out there. I use them to help you. Plus arrows.
The Inquisition has spies already. Can you add to these professionals?
Here's how it is. You important people are up here, shoving your cods around. Blah, blah, I'll crush you, I'll crush you. Ooh, crush you. Then you've got cloaks and spy kings, like this tit. Or was he one of the little knives, all serious with his little knife? All those secrets, and what gave him up? Some houseboy who don't know shite, but knows a bad person when he sees one. So no, I'm not knifey shiv dark, all hidden. If you don't listen down here too, you risk your breeches. Like those guards, I stole their... Look, do you need people or not? I want to get everything back to normal. Like you.
So who are your Friends of Red Jenny? You must know them.
Oh, it's not hard to understand if you're not trying to waste your day on it. Someone little always hates someone big. And unless you don't eat, sleep, or piss, you're never far from someone little. Doesn't always work out, but a lot of people hated this guy. Someone got a laugh, someone got even, someone got paid. And someone has to have explained to them that free help is good.
You sound like a thief who acts out petty revenge fantasies. And that might be bad?
Oh, right. You want to prop that guy up so I can say my sorries? Bad things should happen to bad people. We find someone not so bad, maybe he'll end up not so dead. Good enough?
You said that like it's obvious, but you didn't know him.
I knew about him.
That's just rumor.
Look, I'd have been fine stripping his guards and nicking his stuff. Turns out he deserved worse. Or was him trying to kill you a good thing? Are you the baddie? Didn't think so.
Back there you wanted to know if I glowed. Why?
That's what you do, innit? You walked out of somewhere and now you glow. Andraste's herald. True or not, it seemed like the easiest way to know it was you.
True or not?
Well, that's what they say and all. Look, don't get ahead, yeah? I want to help this... whatever it is. Inquisition.
All right, Sarah. I can use you and your friends.
Yes! Getting good before you're too big to like. That'll keep your breeches where they should be. Plus extra breeches because I have all these... You have merchants who buy that piss, yeah? Got to be worth something. Anyway, Haven. See you there, Herald. This will be grand.
Master Lavellen, on behalf of the Inquisition.
A pleasure, sir. We so rarely have a chance to meet anyone new. It is always the same crowd at these parties. So you must be a guest of Madame de Fer, or are you here for Duc Bastien?
Are you here on business? I have heard the most curious tales of you. I cannot imagine half of them are true.
I've heard very little about Duke Bastien.
He hasn't been seen much at court lately.
His business with the Council of Heralds often takes him from home for long periods. It can't be good for a man of his years.
And of course, there's the Civil War. Bastien probably wishes to distance himself from the actions of his one-time son-in-law.
Tearing up the Dales in a foolish bid for power? It will end in disgrace for Gaspard. Everyone knows it.
I'm not familiar with that name. I was invited here by First Enchanter Vivienne.
Madame de Fer is a fond nickname the court has given Lady Vivienne.
I've heard she finds it amusing.
What have you heard about me?
Some say that when the veil opened, Andraste herself delivered you from the Fade.
I don't care what they say about me.
You should. The game has crushed far more powerful institutions than your Inquisition.
The Inquisition. What a lot of pig shit. Washed up sisters and crazed seekers. No one can take them seriously. Everyone knows it's just an excuse for a bunch of political outcasts to grab power.
That's not true. I'm just searching for Divine Justinia's killer.
Of course you are. I'm sure your army is out scouring the hills for her murderer as we speak. We know what your Inquisition truly is. If you were a man of honor, you'd step outside and answer the charges.
My dear Marquis, how unkind of you to use such language in my house to my guests. You know such rudeness is intolerable.
Madame Vivienne, I humbly beg your pardon.
You should. Whatever am I going to do with you, my dear? My lord, you're the wounded party in this unfortunate affair. What would you have me do with this foolish, foolish man?
The Marquis doesn't interest me. Do whatever you like with him.
Poor Marquis. Issuing challenges and hurling insults like some Ferelden doglord. And all dressed up in your Aunt Solange's doublet. Didn't she give you that to wear to the Grand Tourney? To think all the brave chevaliers who will be competing left for Markham this morning, and you're still here. Were you hoping to sate your damaged pride by defeating the Herald of Andraste in a public duel? Or did you think his sword would end the shame of your failure? Run along, my dear. Do give my regards to your aunt. I'm delighted you could attend this little gathering. I've so wanted to meet you. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Vivienne, first Enchanter of Montsimard and Enchantress to the Imperial Court.
Is that Marquis going to pose a problem?
His aunt is the Vicomtesse of Mont de Glace. Not a powerful family, but well respected. And very devout. Alphonse will be disowned for this. It's not the first time he's brought his aunt disgrace, but I'm sure it'll be the last. And after such a public humiliation, I expect he'll run off to the Dales to join the Empress's war effort. Either to make a good end, or to win back a modicum of self-respect.
Your salon has certainly exceeded my expectations so far.
I'm glad to keep you entertained, my dear. I wanted to meet face to face. It is important to consider one's connections carefully. With Divine Justinia dead, the Chantry is in shambles. Only the Inquisition might restore sanity and order to our frightened people. As the leader of the last loyal mages of Thedas, I feel it only right that I lend my assistance to your cause.
What exactly can you do for the Inquisition?
I am well versed in the politics of the Orlesian Empire. I know every member of the Imperial court personally. I have all the resources remaining to the Circle at my disposal. And I'm a mage of no small talent. Will that do?
Does that mean you'd be aiding the Inquisition from the Imperial Palace?
Ordinarily, I would be happy to serve as liaison to the court, but these are not ordinary times. The veil has been ripped apart and there is a hole in the sky. It is now the duty of every mage to work towards sealing the breach. And so I would join the Inquisition on the field of battle.
Are you devout? What's your opinion of the Chantry?
I was a great admirer of the late divine Justinian V. The Chantry, at its best, unites the disparate cultures of Thedas and looks after its most vulnerable. Had she lived, Justinia could have accomplished so much.
You are aware that the Chantry hasn't sanctioned this Inquisition?
The Chantry is leaderless. They're in no position to officially sanction anything. Besides, my dear, if there is one virtue the Chant of Light teaches us, it is forgiveness. Once the Inquisition has sealed the breach, I'm sure the new Divine will not care in the slightest about official permission.
What's in this for you?
The same thing anyone gets by fighting this chaos. The chance to meet my enemy, to decide my fate. I won't wait quietly for destruction.
You say you led the last of the loyal mages. Loyal to whom?
To the people of Thedas, of course. We have not forgotten the commandment, as some have, that magic exists to serve man. I support any effort to restore such order.
So you're in favor of returning the mages to the Circle, then?
Where else can mages safely learn to master their talents? We need an institution to protect and nurture magic. Maker knows, magic will find neither on its own.
The Inquisition will be happy to have you, Lady Vivian.
Great things are beginning, my dear. I can promise you that.
Good day to you.
Maker, look at it. So much easier to ignore when it's far away. And to actually walk out of it. To be that close.
It's right there. We could take a trip, if you're that curious.
I'm gonna have to decline. At least until I learn more about it. I have to admit, I thought you'd be...
human?
Yes.
Being upfront is better than knife ear.
It was a foolish thought. Should have known better than to say anything. It's what you do and how you do it that's important. Just one question then. How do you think you fit in with all this?
I just want to help stop the war. Try to put things back in order.
A worthy goal, one I'm happy to support. For me, I'll be satisfied so long as we find the bastards that killed the Divine. They owe us some answers. I've heard rumors of abandoned warden camps all over these parts. If we have time, I'd like to take a look. See if there's anything we can salvage.
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
Ah, the Wardens. I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
The Blight's been over for 10 years. What do Wardens do when the world's not ending?
There is still Darkspawn. Just because we killed so many in Ferelden doesn't mean they're gone. And the world is not so peaceful that there's no use for good men with swords. Sometimes you have to figure out for yourself what the pledge to protect others really means. It's not always about just archdemons and blights.
Where were you during the Blight?
I was in Ferelden. On my own, like always. Quietly killed my fair share of Darkspawn too.
You haven't had contact with other Wardens for a while. Why were you on your own?
It's what I've always done. Recruitment only requires one man. Besides, I've always been a loner. Works best for everyone that way.
So you have no idea where the rest of the Wardens are?
Do you find that odd? The Blight is over. We don't need an organized force. And orders don't change much from day to day. For the last 1,000 years or so, it's been just find Darkspawn, kill them, repeat as necessary.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me. Yes?
I want to hear more about you.
Compared to yours, my life will seem dull indeed.
Your name, Blackwall, doesn't sound Orlesian. Marcher, then? Ferelden?
I was from the Free Marchers originally. Markham. That was a long time ago. Another life.
I hear that many Wardens were once criminals.
You're right. And when you join, your past is forgotten, so let's leave it that way.
What did you do before you became a Warden?
I was a soldier, a nobody trained to wield a sword and follow orders. I grew weary of fighting other men's wars.
So you became a Warden?
More or less. Becoming a Grey Warden was the first time I felt like I mattered. The life I led before seems hollow in comparison. Perhaps one day it will fade away.
Why did you join the Wardens?
Because they remember honor and sacrifice. Words that have little meaning to the rest of us. Because they lay down their lives for those they have sworn to protect. We all need to believe there are such men in the world. I needed to believe I could be one of them.
We can continue this discussion at another time.
Very well. At your service.
What do you think of the Inquisition?
I expected more. More men, better equipment. You may have Andraste's favor, but wars are won by men, soldiers.
Brute force is not always the answer. There are plenty of other paths to victory.
True enough. Still, it never hurts to be prepared. One thing I will say about your men. They're passionate, devoted. You inspire them. Build on that foundation, and you will have an army that makes nations tremble.
What do you think of Haven?
It's a war camp that was once a pilgrim's refuge. It's the state of the world, though, isn't it? Holy ground turned into a battlefield. Pity about that temple. Would have been nice to see it.
What do you think of the Inquisition's cause?
Restoring order is a goal I support wholeheartedly. But that's not the end of it, is it? Not by a half. The Lady Seeker believes we are restoring the Chantry. Others say it needs reform. I don't know where you stand on the matter, and I'll admit I haven't made up my mind either.
What do you think about all this trouble between the Mages and Templars?
Looking at it from where we stand, it seems inevitable. But that could be hindsight. How many of us actually saw it coming? Either way, I don't think the Chantry will ever recover.
What do you think of my advisors?
Leliana seems nice. Also a little frightening, but mostly nice.
You're not saying that for my benefit, are you? Are you so certain you're being watched?
Are you so certain we aren't? I don't want to wake up with a blade in my kidneys if I can help it.
We should return to our duties.
As you wish. You are, after all, in charge.
What can I do for you?
Iron Bull said the charges were at my disposal. Do you have any suggestions on how to use them?
Nothing jumps out at me. If I come up with any ideas, I'll let you know.
Can we talk about the Bull's charges?
Best company you'll find from here to the Anderfells. In my time with the Chief, we've gone up against everything from bandits to magic trees. We're expensive, but you'll never doubt we're worth it. Want to know anything in particular?
Are there rules for how mercenaries operate?
If you don't want some noble to treat you like bandits, yes. There's also a code of conduct most companies hold to. Keeps things civilized on the battlefield. We accept surrenders for ransom from mercenaries, nobles, and soldiers wearing a lord's colors. Our prisoners are treated well, injuries tended. We'd want the same for any of ours who got captured.
Do the chargers specialize in anything from a tactical standpoint?
Bull doesn't want us large enough to work as an army. We're better as shock troops, as skirmishers. We've got archers for hitting enemy infantry, Dalish with more archery, and Skinner and her people on the flanks. Rocky handles fortifications and traps, and Stitches keeps us all fighting. They mostly hold back. I'll lead the frontline fighters with Grim, and the Chief goes wherever he can hit something.
You said something about everything from bandits to magic trees. I'll admit to some curiosity.
Right. Sylvans. That's what Dalish called them. Apparently spirits can possess trees, too. Some noble in the Dales, and they really don't like it when you call them Dalish nobles, had a haunted forest. His family had abandoned the land, but he wanted it back. The Chief bought us all axes, and in we went. Between the axes and the torches, the Sylvans weren't too bad. Worst part was the squirrels.
We'll talk later.
They've got good form. Cullen's putting his Templar training to good use.
Did Cullen tell you he was a Templar? He's not wearing the armor.
He didn't have to. Might not be a Templar shield, but it's a Templar holding it. He angles the shield just a bit down. Helps direct fire or acid away, so it doesn't spray right into your face. Kanari learned the same thing when we trained to fight Tevinter mages. Your Templar's doing good work.
I'm impressed by what Cullen has accomplished with the troops.
Damn right. It takes time to build a group into a team, but he's got their loyalty. Now he just needs them to make a decent shield wall, and they'll be good to go. Biggest problem for the Inquisition right now isn't on the front line. It's at the top. You've got no leader, no Inquisitor.
The Inquisition has done all right so far without an Inquisitor.
That's because all we've needed so far is damage control, reaction. A group can handle that. Once you've sealed the breach, it's gonna be time to make decisions. Someone's gonna have to step up. Who knows? Maybe you sealed the breach. The Chantry gets off its ass and all those soldiers go home and get fat.
You think?
It could happen. It won't, but it could. How's it going?
So how did you get the name Iron Bull?
I picked it. We don't have names under the queue. Just, I don't know. Job descriptions, I guess. When I came to Orlais, I chose the Iron Bull for myself.
But why specifically Iron Bull?
This may surprise you, but I really like hitting things. Also, it's the Iron Bull, technically. I like having an article at the front. It makes it sound like I'm not even a person, just a mindless weapon. An implement of destruction. That really works for me.
I'd like to know more about the Kunari.
You writing a book?
What I've heard about them sounds fascinating.
What you've heard was mostly horse shit. All right, what do you want to know?
How is everyday life different for Kunari?
Depends on your job, I guess. Some are just about the same. A baker in Valroyo gets up, gets dressed, and starts work. A baker in Parvolan does the same thing. They don't care about the Empire or the Qun. Mostly they worry about breaking eggs and hope the dough rises right.
It can't be exactly the same. The Kunari have no personal freedoms.
How many personal freedoms do you figure that baker in Valroyo has? Life isn't about freedom. The baker in Parvolan wonders if she'll be given enough eggs to do her work. Will they come on time? Will the kitchen workers get her bread while it's fresh, or will they come late and blame her 'cause it's stale? Same crap in Valroyo. People are just people.
How do the Kunari rule themselves?
It's pretty simple. We've got the matriarchy, the priesthood, and the military. The priesthood figures out how Kunari should live in theory. The matriarchy makes it work in practice. And the military keeps the Kunari safe from outside threats.
Does it actually work like that? Is there much infighting?
Not like you're thinking of. People disagree, yeah, but the priests are there to solve disagreements. Here in Olay, politicking comes from people putting their own gain ahead of the gains of society. If you do that among the Kunari, the Ben Hasrath set you straight, or kill you.
What's it like growing up under the Qun?
The Tamasrans raise us in these units of kids all our own age. They're like teachers, or chantry sisters. They also help figure out what jobs we should do. They had me pegged for military work early on. When they learned I could hit stuff and lie, they started training me for the Ben Hasrath.
It must have been a good day for you.
Yes, it's like being a block of stone with a sculptor working on you. One day, the last of the crap gets knocked off, and you can see your real shape. What you're supposed to be. That's a good day.
I heard there's no marriage among the Kunari.
Yeah, that's true. Kunari love our friends like anyone does, but we don't have sex with them.
Kunari don't have sex?
Oh, we definitely have sex. Their Tamasrans who pop your cork whenever you need it.
Seriously?
Yes. It's not a big deal like it is here. It's like, I don't know, going to see a healer. Sometimes it's this long, involved thing. It takes all day, leaves you walking funny. Other times you're in and out in 5 minutes. Thank you. See you next week.
That sounds different.
Yep. Still, it's more fun here. Fewer rituals, more making it up as you go along. Plus, you folk have redheads. Redheads.
Do you ever think about what would happen if the Kunari conquered Orlais or Ferelden?
Some folks, like Cassandra or Cullen, would do fine if they didn't die fighting. Those two love rules. But the mages... Can you imagine Solus trying his fade dreaming under the Qun? Or Vivian doing her political bullshit? Both Sarah and Varric would mouth off until they ended up re-educated, drugged until their minds broke. So, to answer your question, no, I don't think about it much at all.
The word Kunari, is that the race or the religion?
Both. Kind of. The humans and elves who follow the Qun are the Vidathari. The Kunari who break away from the Qun are Talvasha, deserters.
What about Kunari who existed before the Qun?
The people we came from. They're called the Kossith, but we don't use that word for the race. We came south to Thedas because the Kossith were... I don't know. We had to leave. The stories aren't clear. But I don't expect they look much like us. Whatever they are.
See you later, Bull.
See ya. Can I help you?
I'd like to know more about your work with the Ben Hasrath.
Ben Hasrath is actually a general term. You've got the secret police who investigate problems inside our territory. You've got the re-educators who take people with problems and fix their minds. Or make them disappear. And then you've got the spies.
How do the re-educators work?
Well, I only know the basics. Wasn't my area. That said, keep a man awake long enough. Ask the right questions, give the right potions, and you can get him to say anything. You don't need blood magic or demons to change someone's mind. We're a lot more fragile than we'd like to believe.
You can alter someone's beliefs that easily.
One of my friends was a re-educator. He said that every memory is like the page of a book. When you examine a memory, you're turning to that page, and when you're there, the page is laid bare. Write a few notes in the margins of the page, erase a word here and there, and your whole outlook changes. I always felt a little weird reading after that conversation.
The re-educators sound horrible.
Yeah, they probably do. Here's the thing, though. What happens in Orlais when you commit a crime or betray a lord? They just lop your head off. At least the Qunari try to fix you.
And you're a spy?
Close. I am now, I suppose. But that's not how I started. They sent me to Saharan because they needed someone who could fight and hunt down problems. That whole island was a sack of cats. Incursions from Tevinter, Tal Vashath, and native rebels fighting both sides. And in the middle, me, trying to wrangle the rebels and restore order.
You seem like the type who enjoys a good fight.
There's a good fight, and there's finding out who put rat poison in the bread and killed a bunch of children. I hunted down a lot of rebels. Lost a lot of friends to the Vince, or the Fog Warriors, or the Tal Vashath. One day I woke up and couldn't think of a damned reason to keep doing my job. Turned myself into the re-educators.
You'd heard what the re-educators did to their prisoners.
Yes, I had. I wanted them to fix me like they fixed them. The Ben Hassarth ordered me to go to Orlais, ostensibly as a Tal Vashath, and work undercover. That's how I ended up here.
It sounds like you had a rough life under the Qun.
What, 3 meals a day and free sex whenever I need it? I came out here for the challenge, boss. Figured I'd rough it with you savages. Anyway, nice talking with you. What can I do for you?
See you later, Bull.
See ya.
Got the door again, Flisser. Sarah, don't know how it keeps breaking.
So, this is it, huh? Oh, no, it's fine, yeah? It's just, I thought it'd be bigger. Hear that? I meant the stronghold, but it sounded like... Well, it's funny, right? Anyway, stopping wars should earn more sovereigns than this. Need things back to normal for coins to be flowing again. Another reason the Templars and mages need to be sat down.
The Templars and the mages. Most people pick a side.
Most people are stupid.
But where do you stand on the war?
In the frigging middle with everyone else. You know what I hear about mages? Nothing, until one goes all demony. Know what I hear about Templars? Nothing, until they take maybe mages. They're too busy to look up where the real questions are.
Is there something else you're looking for? Like, what's behind all this?
Maybe. I don't know. First things first, right? I help you, march, arrow, kick. Then people stop being stupid, and everything starts to make sense again. Sound good to you, all-chosen Lord Herald?
I'm ready to give it a shot. That's all I can ask from anyone else.
I'm in. It's an investment, yeah? Better pay off, too. Stupid war and everything. I had things to do. Chasing the Lord Seeker, I hear. Anyone who thinks they need Lord in front of the name, that's bad. Bet he's got a portrait taller than he is. That's your first clue to a total arse. Fact.
You apparently have a lot of friends. Tell me about your network.
It's not mine, right? I mean, it is, but it's also everyone. Everyone who wants to shove it to nobles who hide behind gold and silk. And hats, I guess.
Are you just about pranks and revenge, or is there more to it?
Well, it's a weave, right? I grease a ballroom, so a wyvern chasing Git has to hunt sprained. Strangely, handmaids leave his vault open. His heirlooms pay off someone else. Maybe clean streets in Kirkwall so someone gets something else. Pish, pish, pish. A lot of people eventually get help or a laugh. Or maybe someone dead, if they deserve it.
I'm glad I met you before someone decided what I deserved.
You're no hateful ass so far. I'd just get you with a pie or something. Anyway, assassin's a bard's job, innit? No fun, that, though. They might plonk a noble, right? But only to raise another. Plus, I'm shite at singing.
Is Red Jenny real? Or was she always just you and your friends?
Dunno.
Don't you care?
Not if it works. I mean, Red is scary because... blood. And Jenny is... Look, nobody fears the bunch of people who do random stuff. And besides, it's easy. Nobles want a bogeyman because they need to believe normal people can't get at them. Numbers, right? It don't have to be so complicated.
Doesn't this mean people think you're guilty of more than you actually do?
I suppose. Does it matter?
Shouldn't it?
Important people kill over imagined insults. I've made more than enough real ones, so no. I don't suppose it does.
Where are the people you promised?
If I knew, there wouldn't be much use. That's sort of the point. Look, unless your baddies are rocks or trees, they have people they use. Cooks, squires, wipers. Yeah, I know, wipers, right? You better believe the one with wipers deserve it, right in the... Well, anyway. The little people will be there when you need them, in a million little ways.
So lots of little contributions add up in the background, like snowflakes that snap a branch.
What? Sure. Like snow, I guess. Anyway, it just works, most of the time. Friend of a friend and little hints. Mind you still have to be smart. Don't bet your life unless you're into that. To be clear, I'm not into that.
I can play along if it works for you.
You have a choice. Hail the Inquisition.
We'll talk another time.
It's all good, innit? Chasing mages, that's a Templar's job. A big, armored, pissed-off helm polisher. Not too late to go find some. Or stay home.
I was wondering if you could look at some locks for me.
What, the doors under the chantry?
You know about them?
Places have doors. I just wasn't interested in poking through some sister's breeches. Whatever floats you. Consider them open, yeah? Sitting and waiting. Great, yeah?
Tell me about yourself.
What about me?
You're skilled. Who taught you how to use a bow?
No one.
That seems unlikely.
What? I picked it up here and there. Mostly it just makes sense. It's not like that for you.
Usually it takes considerable discipline. Hence my question.
Hence? Look, I work at it. Practice a little. Not like Cullen and his pairs. I mean, you miss, then you don't. Is it that hard to see when it's wrong?
Well, it's not like that for other elves. I know that.
Most I know couldn't find an arrow sitting on it. Right. Maybe I just make it look easy in shite company. Fact still is, no teacher. Where would I find one in alleyways, anyway?
How about the basics? Where are you from?
Ferelden?
I got that from the accent. Where in Ferelden?
All over? Okay, fine. Denerim for a bit. South, north, wherever I want.
There are no connections you want to mention at all?
Nope.
How very Kunari of you.
What?
Never mind.
Good, right?
We'll talk later.
If you say so.
You've never been to a circle, as far as I can tell, yet you're remarkably skilled. Were you self-taught?
Not at all. I studied magic with Keeper Deshana.
I have heard about the traditions of magic among the Dalish keepers, but it's all third-hand. In my own experience, nothing is more deadly to a young mage than a lack of knowledge, which makes the current state of things precarious. What do you imagine will happen if the circles are not restored? Do you foresee the Dalish taking us all under their wing?
The war benefits no one. It must end, and order must be restored.
If only the rebels saw things so clearly. Justinia's death has shattered the balance of power in Thedas. If it is not restored quickly, countless lives will be lost. Mages, Templars, innocent people of all kinds now look to the Inquisition to decide their fate.
I'll try not to let them down.
Failure is a luxury we cannot afford, my dear. For almost 1,000 years, the world believed it was in the hands of the Maker. And now many believe you are the agent of his will. Whatever the truth is, that belief gives you power.
Nobody should claim to know the will of the Maker. Not me, and not the Chantry.
Perhaps nobody should. But if no one leads the way, many will be left behind in darkness. I've stolen enough of your time, my dear. Don't let me keep you. Yes?
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
What was it like to live in a circle?
My dear, your question is the root of all problems with mages. I cannot tell you. Every circle was different. Their Templars were different, their politics unique. And every person within each tower had an experience of circle life unique to themselves. Some people suffered and some were content. Some were cruel, some compassionate, and some indifferent. The same is true of people everywhere, in all circumstances, whether they are mages or not.
So tell me about your personal experience with the Circle.
I enjoyed life in the Montsimard Circle, my dear. It was an edifice devoted to knowledge and refinement. And there is comfort to be had, you know, in the company of fellow mages. Those born without magic will never truly understand us.
You must have been under constant supervision, being forced by Templars to live in the tower. Was that hard to endure?
My dear, I have a suite in the palace and a wing at my dear Duke Bastien's estate. I've never been forced to live anywhere. Most circles allowed mages to live away from the tower, either on their own or in service to the nobility. All that was required was permission from the first enchanter. Some circles were harsher in their restrictions. Kirkwall was the worst, but it was the exception. Most were quite permissive. Perhaps too permissive, in retrospect.
If the Circle disbanded, how can you still belong to it?
The Circle is an idea, my dear, and an idea cannot be dissolved. Many of the first enchanters voted for rebellion, caring little that anything short of a unanimous decision would pit mage against mage. Rather than dissolving it, Grand Enchanter Fiona's vote split the circle in two. The rebels follow her, the loyalists follow me.
If you lead all the loyalists, why are you only First Enchanter and not Grand Enchanter?
Grand Enchanters are elected, and since there are no First Enchanters besides myself, no vote can be held. I could name myself Grand Enchanter, but the title holds no meaning now. When the circles are restored, that will change.
How did we come to this state with the circles in revolt?
A failure of perspective that infected circle leadership. Mages lived solely in a world of Templars and mages. They could not even imagine what was beyond the tower walls. Kirkwall gave the world a reason to remember its fear of magic. A mage killed hundreds with a snap of their fingers. Across Thedas, a new tangible fear of magic grew. Commoners and nobles alike called out to the Chantry for protection. But the malcontents in the towers thought nothing of this. They cared only for themselves and for their anger at the new Templar restrictions. When a mage attempted to assassinate Divine Justinia, again, the mages protested the investigation. The leadership chose to vote on independence based on the intolerable conditions imposed by the Templars, sparing no thought to the fact that magic was more feared in the aftermath of these attacks than it had been since Tevinter's day. So long as they had their freedom, they could care little for riots, angry mobs, or about pitting mages against each other.
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away? By all means protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By voting when they did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people. We would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin, but Fiona chose to let the motion stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice. By breaking from the Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels. Yes?
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
You must have an opinion of the Templars after living so long in the Circle.
Having opinions about Templars, my dear, is exactly like having opinions about mages or Navarrans or men. I have known some who are impossible to endure and some who are utterly charming. I have suffered insults at the hands of those in the armor, but no more than I endured from nobles or tradesmen in Val Royal. Personally, I have found the Templars a useful tool, skilled at keeping more unpleasant elements at bay. Yes?
I'd like to know more about you, Madame Vivienne.
Whatever would you like to know?
Your accent's not Orlesian. Where exactly are you from?
I am from the Circle, my dear. One's country of origin rarely matters there. But if you must know, I was born in Wycombe in the Free Marches. I was sent to the Ostwick Circle, but I transferred to Monsignor while still an apprentice.
I'm curious how a Circle mage winds up a courtier.
Nobody winds up at court, my dear. It takes a great deal of effort to arrive there. I caught the eye of Duke Bastien de Ghislaine, an advantageous connection that opened many doors. When the position of Enchanter to the Imperial Court became vacant, I was able to secure it.
You're married to the Duke de Ghislaine?
Of course not, my dear. Don't be ridiculous. Marriage is the business of alliance and inheritance. I'm Bastien's mistress.
And what does the Duchess de Ghislaine think of this arrangement?
We got along quite well. Duchess Nicoline and I used to host musical salons together. She was a great patron of the arts. She passed away from a fever a few years ago, the poor dear.
What duties does a court enchanter have?
I am tasked with providing assistance to the Empress on arcane matters. Most of my predecessors restricted this to lighting lamps and doing parlor tricks. In such troubled times as these, however, I provide political advice to Her Majesty on the subject of the Mage Rebellion. Yes?
Is there anything I can do to help your efforts at restoring the Circle?
After the Circles fell, their libraries were plundered by scavengers. 1,000 years of recorded knowledge in the hands of bandits. It makes me sick to think of it. I've received news that some tomes have been located, if you are interested in righting this wrong.
I'll look into it for you.
If you can take care of this matter, the Circle would be in your debt.
Come to me, child, and I shall embrace you.
Researcher Meneve wishes
In
to
my
verify that
arms
the
lies
infections have
eternity.
decreased in number. Yes.
Thank you.